Well, the Transformer world does not let up with its news and its leaks. On Thursday, we had the Arc and Scorponok. On Friday, we had the Hasbro Fan Fest with Hasbro Pulse and all the big reveals with that. With Saturday, we had the Transformer Slag Saturday night live stream and all the crazy stuff that we overwent with that stuff. And today, leaked out, this is from a board member on 4chan, leaked out a Studio Series 86 Leader Class Slag with Daniel. Now, this was a listing that we saw many months ago and speculated. And I think the thing that was most fascinating to me was the use of the name Slag for the Triceratops character of the Dinobots, considering that, historically this character has not been able to use that name. When you really dial it back in the history of that character, pretty much after his decoy figure and the Generation 2 release, that name was not to be used anymore. And then when they did I think it was the Robot Hero or the animated character, it's hard to say which really was developed first, but they went with Snarl, which in itself is confusing because that's the name of the Stegosaurus. And then they just settled on Slug from that point on afterwards with Age of Extinction. They just stuck with the name Slug, and it hasn't changed since. Slug, slug, slug. Now, we all know the reason why they don't go with Slag. It means a very different thing in the rest of the world, and even in the Transformer world, it's a swear word. And I think that they just wanted to really bring back the name and the IP of that character. And the choice of putting Daniel with him, which a lot of people have been wondering why. Well, a Slag and a Daniel together, I'm pretty sure you could figure it out if you really think about it. Hasbro's having some fun. So let's dive into this release, essentially. And sorry if I sound a little tired. It's been a busy past couple of days. So we finally get a good look at it. Again, it's a leader class, so it's fairly large next to all the other characters, towers over even that of our leader class Optimus Prime. So him and and Grimlock are just towering next to each other. Looks really good. I appreciate the decal and details that match that of the character model with blue eyes for the Dino mode, opening mouth, all of that stuff looks really good. And when we get to the robot mode, this is the bigger important thing. He has a red face. And Slag has always had this weird thing in his history where his original toy had a black face, and on the show, he had a red face. Now, there was a running change of Slag in Canada in 1985, which was a red face, and it was ridiculously rare. And that's where the podcast name kind of originally started with. We're going to give a little history of the podcast, too, because originally the podcast was going to be kind of Canadian-based. And we thought, Canadian Slag, the very first exclusive to Canada back in 1985. And it was just this rare figure, even within the worldwide Generation 1 collecting community. And that blackface version, if you will, would stick around for a very long time. The Generation 2 version would have a black face. Technically, the decoy has a red face, but it's because the whole decoy is red. And it would just go on and on where he wouldn't have that red face. Even when they did the Power of the Primes version, he had a black face. When they did the Generation Selects Japanese, Takara Tomy Mall exclusive kind of thing, the Volcanicus Selects box set, they gave him the red face then in 2021. And I think the reason why they did that is because they knew, and this was in February of 2021, it was released, this gift set, and they teased it in late 2020 in December. They knew that this Leader Class Slag was coming. So they knew that we have to do one more repaint of this mold, get the last buck we can get out of it, and then put this one out. So this one has the red face. It's show accurate, looks really good. I dig everything that's going on here in terms of the weapon that he even comes with. Some people were arguing, why doesn't he have his sword with him? Like, where's his Dinobot sword? Well, it wasn't really shown that much in the show, if at all. But his white gun that we have seen here, it has been seen in the show. So it's very important. When we get to the Daniel figure itself in the exosuit, it's clearly like they're going with the same idea that they went with Wheelie here that came with Grimlock, where it has this like stuck, like crouching pose. We could see the clear plastic of the inner thigh, so it could ride on the back of the dinosaur. So, sure, another crouching, non-transforming accessory. I mean, we've got a few exosuit figures throughout our time. I mean, even recently with the core class Bumblebee that comes with the Spike exosuit. So to have one or two that don't really do anything isn't going to be too much of a big deal. Although from a Studio Series 86 perspective, I mean, there was no scene where Daniel was riding on the back of a Dinobot or something. That's more of a Wheelie thing again. But I think, they want to put Slag and Daniel together for whatever reason. We see how he stores the weapon under his tail. It all looks good. Painted very nicely, looks very good. The scale works well. The Dinobots were always massive characters, always very tall. So it just kind of fits in with that old aesthetic of the original 86 movie, or even dialing it more back to the 1984, 1985 season 1 and 2 character models by Flair O'Deary. Looks great. I think it's awesome. And Hasbro hinted at more Dinobots in the future. They said wait till May for the next stream, whether it's a Fan Fest or a Fan First Friday or a Transformer Tuesday, whatever they want to call it, whenever that'll happen next month in May. But they said they were going to reveal some Dinobots. Looks like some stuff got out early, but we're probably maybe going to see more. Maybe they'll do all 5 of them. That'd be really cool. I'd really dig that. Get all 5 of the Dinobots done right. And considering it's a leader class, it works to a degree within your masterpiece display. We're not replacing your masterpieces, don't get me wrong, or even your third-party ones, but it kind of works a little bit. They're short. I would call them short deluxe Dinobots in a masterpiece, if you will, even though they're leader classes. But either way, I dig it. I think it looks good. Let me know what you think. The question is now, who's going to be next? Who is going to be next? Probably going to be Sludge. That's probably my guess. Are they going to be able to call him Sludge? Are they going to call him Slog? We do not know. That's a whole other story. Interesting choice of trademark here to get Slag back. Wonder how that's going to work in the international market. Maybe they've gotten over it. Who knows? But let me know what you think. Leader class price comes with a little Daniel. It's all good.